A strange number appeared on my phone. I hesitated, but out of habit, I answered. The silence was followed by a familiar voice that froze me in place. It had been 5 years since the person who had sent divorce papers without a word and left with my son. That was the last time. Now, suddenly, she was calling again, speaking as if nothing had happened. Beneath the calm tone was a familiar undertone. I knew she wanted something. She spoke of family, but the words struck me like a lock, snapping shut inside my chest. When I was at rock bottom, there had been no calls, no support. Now that I was seen as successful, they wanted to return. From that day, people who had once been family began circling back into my life. My ex-wife, her mother, her siblings acting as though nothing had happened. But I had made a vow. Those who left me when I was broken would never again receive my hand. My name is Jinsu Park. I am self-employed now, but I once ran a small distribution company. It began with a single one-ton truck. I washed corn, delivered it myself, and worked late into the night on invoices. While others slept, I worked. While others played, I kept going. In 3 years, I had 5 trucks. In 5 years, people in town called me boss. Around that time, I met my future wife. She was professional, sharp, and seemed family-oriented. Her family appeared respectable. Her mother taught at a department store culture center, and her sister was in graduate school. I believed that if the person was good, nothing else mattered. On our wedding day, I felt I had become the pillar of a new family. I worked harder. I paid for my mother-in-law's surgery, covered tuition for my sister-in-law's studies abroad, and supported their household. They often visited, and I cooked and bought gifts for holidays and birthdays. They praised me, calling me their hero, and those words drove me to work even harder. But everything collapsed when my business faltered. A client went bankrupt, leaving me millions short. Then came employee embezzlement, tax audits, and economic downturn. Rent was overdue, salaries delayed, truck payments defaulted, and my credit was ruined. Still, I tried to protect my family. I sold the company but kept the house, determined not to let my wife and son suffer. But family was not what I thought. One evening, I came home to find no dinner, only a note on the table. My wife had left with our son to her mother's house. Calls went unanswered. A single text from my mother-in-law told me to let go. Everything I had given the money, the time, the love, instantly became meaningless. All that remained was an empty house, a few unwashed shirts, and photos of smiling faces. That night, I cried out loud for the first time, not from sorrow, but anger. I asked myself what I had done wrong, what I had lacked. But over time, the question changed. Why had I ever believed they were family? Days passed in silence. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. I ignored calls. The office was gone. The bank account was negative. I thought I might die like that. Then one day, someone knocked. A young man stood there, awkward but sincere. He reminded me of the times I had helped him years ago. When he ran a coffee truck, he showed me a 2-page business plan for a small urban delivery warehouse. His eyes were desperate, and for the first time, I felt I could start again. We rented a shabby warehouse. The first month was a loss. The second month, one order brought us to tears. By the 4th month, local stores began using our service. Word spread, and we grew. He was smart, handling planning, technology, and logistics. I used my sales skills and contacts. In 3 years, we had over 20 employees. We were featured on TV as a success story. But a week after the broadcast, trouble began. My ex-wife's family started reaching out again. They spoke of my son, but their true motive was clear. They wanted to return to my life now that I was successful. I looked at an old family photo, the last page of an album. My eyes back then sparkled with belief that I was living for them. Now I knew it was my turn to lead the story. Their approaches grew bolder. Texts, visits, and eventually my ex-wife herself. She had returned because she needed me, not because of our son. I saw it clearly. I arranged a dinner with her, her mother, and her sister. They arrived smiling, pretending everything was natural, but their purpose was obvious. I calmly presented a savings account in my son's name, ensuring his education would be covered. I told them there was one condition: they would never interfere in my life again. Silence followed, their faces twisted in shock, but I stood firm. Rights come from protecting someone, and they had abandoned me when I fell. After that, they never contacted me again. My ex-wife sent one long message saying my coldness broke her heart. I did not reply. I was not cold. They were simply too late. Time passed. My son grew into a high schooler. One day, he called me himself, asking to meet for a meal. We sat together in a quiet sandwich shop, talking. He was becoming an adult, and I resolved never to hurt him again. Now I can say this family is the one who stays by your side in the darkest times. Only those who endure the darkness with you can truly be called family. People often remember those who were there when life was good, but the ones who matter most are those who did not turn away. When you were at your lowest, I finally understood. Love, family, loyalty, everything comes down to those who remain. I hope today's story conveyed emotion and realization to you. Thank you for staying with us until the end. Share your story with us. We'll tell your story to the world. Those whose stories are selected will receive a gift.